The Wii U was one of Nintendo's biggest failures as a company. Okay, no, the Wii U was Nintendo's biggest failure as a company. The system itself wasn't really that bad, but terrible marketing and the confusion around it pretty much killed any hope it had to be a successful console. Third-party developers almost immediately abandoned the system, and that left Nintendo in a pretty difficult position, trying to keep the system above water with their first-party games alone. And as great of a job as they did with some of these games, the main problem was there was just nobody there to play them. What's up, guys? Happy to be here with you again today. I just wanted to make a quick video in defense of these poor Wii U ports. But first, I want to thank you guys for subscribing. We've got about 230 new subscribers in this past month, so I just wanted to take a second and say thank you. And to all of you not subscribed, we are trying to get to 600 by the end of February. So if you're new here, check out this video, a few others on the channel if you want, and feel free to hit that subscribe button. We would love to see you back here every week. All right, so the sales of the Wii U were awful, and that's putting it mildly, especially coming off the massive success of the Wii. Now, the games on the Wii U are another story. Those were not terrible. Well, most of them anyway. But games like Bayonetta 2, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, and of course, Mario Kart 8 were and still are absolutely fantastic games. It seems like a crime to leave some of these amazing titles behind on a system just to be forgotten. So today, I want to have a little discussion about these ports. I want to go over what we already have, why this is happening, what's left, what's rumored, and of course what I expect to happen going forward. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give my take on whether this should actually still be happening in 2020. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. So we'll start off with the ports we already have. Out of about 50 or so games, Nintendo has actually only ported over 9. So it's really not as many as a lot of people think. I'll put the list of all of them right up here for you guys to check out, but I do want to highlight a few. The first one that was an obvious slam dunk is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Originally on the Wii U, this title sold about 8.5 million copies. Now, fast forward to the Switch release, and right now, we're sitting at about 20 million copies. 20 million, that's insane. Which makes it, as of right now, the best-selling Switch game. That's right, a Wii U port is the best-selling Switch game. Another one that definitely needs brought up is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Some people say this is the best 2D platformer ever made. And again, until it was brought over to the Switch, it was stuck on a dead console. Now, this one did not sell nearly as well as Mario Kart 8. Obviously. But at least now it's on a console where it's not going to be lost and forgotten about. It's a really great game, and it deserves at least a chance for people to pick it up and play it. And it gets that on the Switch. My point with all this is I hear people out there saying that Nintendo's just porting whatever to make a quick buck, but I have to disagree with that completely. Of the 50 or so games that they could have brought over, the 9 that they did are solid in my opinion. Now, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is kind of pointless at this point with Mario Maker 2 on the system. But for some people, that type of game is really all they need. And I would guess we're probably not gonna see a 2D Mario in that style, at least for a long, long time. I mean, it's not like Nintendo's out here trying to port over a 2014 Mario and Sonic Olympic game or something like that. Okay, so now with all that said, let's look towards the future. It seems likely that we are going to be getting a few more of these Wii U ports in 2020, which really doesn't come as a surprise, and if you're watching this video, chances are you've already heard that rumor that we're going to be getting 2 Wii U ports in 2020. So let's go ahead and go over what port-worthy titles we actually have left. At this point, there's only a handful of options that make sense, because as we know, most of these have already been ported or have sequels on the Switch already. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with what I don't think it is. I keep seeing Nintendo Land pop up here and there, but it's way too reliant on the Wii U gamepad. Now, that's not to say that any game that used the gamepad will not work on the Switch, because obviously we know that's not true. They've been able to change some controls around here and there, and for the most part, it seems like it's worked out pretty well. But I think Nintendo Land is just way too much to bother with to even try to get it over onto the Switch. I don't even think that one's possible. No, it's not possible. Impossible. It might be possible. I don't know. Moving on. Star Fox Zero is another one I just really don't see happening. While it also was heavily reliant on the Wii U gamepad, I think standard controls for this one actually might make more people want to go pick it up. But this one sold terribly, even for a Wii U game. So my big question with this one is, would Nintendo even want to put the effort in to port something like that over? That might just be a risk they're not willing to take. And with that one, I guess it's kind of understandable. So the last four, I'm sure you all already know which games I'm going to talk about here, because everybody else on the internet is pretty much talking about these four games as well. But after taking a little bit of time to think about it, I think I've come up with two possible scenarios in which these games could be released. Obviously all speculation on my part, but I think some of you might agree with me on these. The first one especially, because I really think that's probably the one that's going to happen. I would say the most likely two ports we are getting in 2020 are Pikmin 3 and Super Mario 3D World. Now in this scenario, I'm assuming that Breath of the Wild 2 is indeed the 2020 holiday title. But obviously, Nintendo is still going to want to release a Mario game sometime in the year. So I'm thinking that Super Mario 3D World gets announced at the Direct we're waiting on right now. And that one would probably release sometime during the summer. And then we'll get Pikmin 3 and hopefully an announcement of Pikmin 4 at E3. Okay, so the second scenario, I'm not quite sure about all this, but I'll explain that after I tell you. Okay, so in this scenario, Breath of the Wild 2 is not the holiday 2020 title. But as I said in my last video, Nintendo wants Zelda titles out every year. I think if that's the case, we get an announcement at this Direct that we are getting the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD double pack. Again, not sure about this one or the other one. I'm pretty much just kind of thinking out loud here, so just roll with it. Anyway, so it's the whole double pack part of that I'm not quite certain about. I do think we're gonna get both of these games at some point. I still just don't know if Nintendo is gonna let both of these games go for one $60 price tag. Every other Wii U port, as far as I can remember, yeah, every other Wii U port has been a full $60 game. There are some slight exceptions, like Bayonetta 2 came with Bayonetta 1. The only reason I think it might be possible to get them both in a double pack is just because they're GameCube games. They're Wii games. These really aren't your standard Wii U ports, you know what I mean? Yeah, they've been remastered in HD, but from what everybody keeps saying, we're gonna get the Prime trilogy, and that's gonna be in HD, and that'll be 3 games for $60. God, I hope it's only $60. But hey, I could be wrong about both these, which honestly, I probably am wrong about both these, and we could get Wind Waker and Pikmin 3, and no announcement for Pikmin 4. Either way, whatever we get, in my opinion, I think these ports are a good thing. I mean, you really have to keep in mind how bad the Wii U sold, and that a lot of people just have not got to play these games. There are some people out there who are completely against the $60 price tag, and I understand that. But at the same time, to a lot of people, again, these are brand new games. To them, they're worth $60. And as I said earlier, none of these are garbage games. And you have to admit, even though I know a lot of you have already played these games, it's nice to have all these games and all the Switch games in one place, on one console. There's absolutely no way you are gonna sit there and tell me that you like booting up your Wii U to play Twilight Princess, because I don't. I'd much rather go upstairs and play it in bed. And if you don't agree with that, it's totally okay, because Nintendo does not require you to buy these games. It's your choice whether you want to pick them up or not. And you know, as we can see by the amazing quality Switch games we're getting on the system, these ports are not taking anything away from development at all. I mean, I think we can all agree on that at least. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Let me know in the comments which 2 ports you think we're gonna get in 2020. And also let me know how excited you are for this Direct to come, so I can start talking about things that are actually happening again. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. Please leave a like on this video. Make sure you get subscribed, because we are well on our way to hitting that 600 subscriber mark by the end of February, and we will see you in the next one.